Okay guys, before we get started with this project, I want to give you two pieces of advice. The first one is to draw light until you get it right. And here's what I mean by that. Whenever you do not press hard on your pencil and you draw lightly, it is much easier to erase. If you instead draw really hard, press down hard on your pencil, like I'm making this star, it's a lot harder to erase and a lot more frustrating. So when you're first sketching, draw lightly until you get it right. And the second thing is I want you to draw what you see and not what you know. Your brain will tell you that, oh, it's a shoe, it has shoelaces, it has a sole, it has the tongue, and there's a really cool design on it. But I want you instead to use what you're actually looking at to draw. The shadows, the lines, the shapes. I want you to think about it instead of just drawing what's in your brain already. So to start off this project, I'm going to use the cutest shoe ever, and that is Baby Carter's first shoe. And everybody say, "Aww." I'm going to put it next to my paper so I'm actually looking at it while I am drawing. I want to be looking at how the lines of the shoe come together, what it actually looks like. I'm not drawing from memory. I am drawing what I am seeing. This is called observational drawing, and it's a really hard skill to master, but you only get better at it by doing it and practicing. So that's what we're going to do. You can literally take off your shoe. Hopefully you wore clean socks today. And you can put your shoe on the table and look at it while you are drawing. Now, some of you might want to design a shoe that is different from the shoe that you are wearing right now, and that's totally fine. You can use a template to start with and then go from there. But I want you to be looking at a shoe in order to help you to design and draw what it actually looks like. So for this part of my mock-up, I simply did a side view of Baby Carter's shoe. It's the cutest thing ever. And then I am going to do another view, and that's going to be the sole. And I'm actually just going to trace around the shape of it in order to have the correct shape to start with, and then I'm going to design it. Now, some soles have really cool patterns that they make whenever you walk. So say you walk through like a mud puddle or something and they leave a print, and that's what I'm thinking of when I'm creating this sole on this shoe. And I am going to use Carter's name to create the sole for my shoe. For my last view of my shoe, I'm going to do a front view as if the shoe is walking towards me. I'm going to hold the shoe that way so I can look at it and draw based on what I see and what the front of the shoe actually looks like. This will help you out when you're drawing to actually look at how the shapes and the lines of the shoe come together. And remember, we're just doing a contour drawing. We're not shading yet. We're not adding color. You're just drawing the outline of the shoe to help you out. Okay, good luck, guys. Okay, so now that I have my shoe 3 different viewpoints, I'm going to decide how I want to make the mock-up more complete. For the side view, I'm actually going to do a little bit of shading, and this is where you really look at where the dark parts of the shoe are and where the light parts. where the shadows are as well as where the highlights are. And if there's a shadow, you make that space a little bit darker. You can even smudge it with your finger like I'm doing right now. Or you can take your eraser and take some of that back up. But you want to make the darker lines darker and the darker parts darker and then the lighter parts lighter. And that will make your shoe look very three-dimensional. It is a really cool effect. It makes it look much more realistic. So I'm going to show you a little bit of that on this particular viewpoint. Now it does take some time to fill in the shadows and really work on the value of the shoe, that is the lightness and the darkness, but once you're done it starts to look very graphic and very dramatic, so much more interesting and dynamic for you to look at and for the viewer to look at. So if you want a really cool mock-up of a shoe and a shoe design, this is the way to go. Okay, for the sole of my shoe, I'm going to use a Sharpie to trace over those lines, just to make the lines a little more bold, and we do this a lot in art class to kind of make lines pop out and to look a little more graphic. So I'm going to do that on the sole of my shoe, and this is another option if you want to add color or if you want it to be just a different kind of design. So that's an option too for you. Now I've erased my pencil marks and I'm going back and I'm adding some color. I want you to kind of come up with your own ideas of how to make a really awesome mock-up. A mock-up would be an advertisement for your shoe. So you might label different parts. If your shoes have really cool features like, oh, I don't even know, whatever you can come up with. I want you to label those things, and I labeled the front, the tread of the shoe or the sole of the shoe, and I gave my shoe a name. I want you to do that as well. And then think about what you want to put in the background. This is like an advertisement for your shoes, so I want you to make it interesting and unique. How can you make someone want to buy the shoe that you just designed? So I cannot wait to see what you create. And I think you'll have lots of fun with this project. Shoes are very important to you guys. So have fun, be creative, and make some really amazing shoes.